Shalom. Give business to YAHAWAH. BAHASHAM, Shabbat, QADASH. The bonus to the elders, apostle, good wisdom. For teaching is truth and sincerity. Citation to the hopeful as we're the fourth answer of the This will be another lesson titled Among These Nations shall thou find no ease. And ultimately, this is going to slavery, okay? Now, I was inspired, just by watching region watch Elder Apostle Tar lesson going to thy heaven that's over thy head should be brass, and the earth that is under thee should be iron. And this is just going to the brass represent the prison, okay? Just being in bondage, captivity. The brass and iron represent being in bondage and captivity, okay? But yeah, because Scripture speaks about how we should be shackled, how they're gonna put, see, like I'm gonna have to find it here, but okay, I'm not gonna be able to find it. The precept that goes into the yoke, the yoke. It's like it's not a yoke, but yeah, the whole point is of this lesson is again, it was inspired. It inspired the Holy Spirit inspired me to do because I've just been watching the different, slave implementation museum, and it just remind me of Deuteronomy 28. Okay, the curses, and we're still in slavery. We're still in captivity. Right, we just not in like the world is called chattel. Okay, captivity. So this is Deuteronomy 28 and 50. I'm going to start from Deuteronomy 28 and 53 reason it should come to pass that as the Lord Yahawah shall rejoice over you to do you good. Okay. And to multiply you. All right, that's going back up to Deuteronomy 28, first on down to 14. Okay. So the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye should be plucked from all the land, whether that goes to possess it, right? Because when the Jews, when the diaspora happened when the Israelites fled from the land of Israel to Africa and whatnot. that they were plucked from Africa, and brought to Egypt, this modern day Egypt. And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy father have known, even wood and stone. And among the nations shall thou find no ease. So in America, if you live in America, if you live in Puerto Rico, Brazil, Germany, Britain, Canada, Australia, whatever, Japan, wherever you may be living in, if you're Israelite, you will find no ease. Okay. Neither shall thy soul or thy foot have rest. Okay. And this is what happened to our people, when they was working on these different plantations, right? They didn't have any rest. Okay. They, in the sense of they were in continuous servitude, right? They didn't have, holidays off, or or they didn't have like breaks. They worked from basically sun up to sundown. Okay. They basically, especially how we show, they work to their death, basically. But the Lord, Yahweh should give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind. And our people, when you look at the different, like for example here, when you look at the different statues per se, of how they look, right. They didn't look happy. Okay, you know, they wasn't in the fighting experience. Okay, so there was what sorrow of mind. Okay, they had a trembling heart, a trembling mind. And ultimately, I'm gonna read it. I'm just continue to read. So I'm just gonna play this other clip. Here I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'm just gonna play a little bit of it. That goes into that precept. Deuteronomy 28 and 65. All right. So as you read, as you heard, I'm gonna play it again. If you did not. All right. Sweat, blood, and tear. Right. Okay. Ultimately, we were sold by the Hamites. Okay. To the Alti, like I always, it was Ashkenazi Jews, right? Which were ultimately Edomites. Okay. Originally, that's who we were sold to. Which were the first. They were the first. Basically, that brought. They were the first. One that brought the Israelites to America. And that life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of light. And our people had no assurance of light, right? They didn't know they were going to die. They didn't know they were going to get delivered, right? They didn't know they would get saved, right? They didn't know they were going to see the next morning. That's why Deuteronomy 28:6 I say in the morning that should say, "Well, God, if we were even." And even I should say, what God is warning, for the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And they saw, our people saw their own, family members getting, they saw just bad things happening to, the their their family members, or just people around them. Okay, they're the people that look like them. Okay, now Esau was doing a lot of, you know you can't even, there's no word to describe it. Evil acts. Okay, evil and wicked acts is the best way to describe it. Okay. I'll read this in the NLT version. Deuteronomy 28 and 60. Five. So here it says, these among those nations you will find a peace or place to rest. And the Lord will cause your heart to tremble, your eyesight to fail. Meaning, the eyesight represent what? Vision of what? Vision, a vision of vision, of salvation, right? Because this is why people were praying when they went in captivity. They were praying. They were praying for deliverance. They were praying for hope. Okay, this is why you got that song called "Sweet Low Sweet Chariot," right? Because people saw the chariots, right? Coming to send us home, right? That's why our people wanted during that time of slavery. Okay. I guess so. The despair, the life will constantly hang in the balance. You will live night and day in fear, unsure if you will survive. In the morning, you will say, if only it were night. And in the evening, you will say, if only it were morning. For you will be terrified by the awful horrors you see around you, right? Like I mentioned, you got to do your research on it, but there's a lot of things that will happen, okay? Evil and wicked and vile acts will happen to our people. So I'm going to close here by giving good praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Shabbat Shalom, QADASH, and that's what I'm saying.